This is the Bakery, a Minecraft server focused entirely on building. Here, hundreds of people come together to build and share their incredible creations. And currently, they are collabing with Builders Refuge to hold one of the biggest building competitions in the world. And with a massive prize pool of $1,500, many people are joining the competition with one goal in mind: reaching first place and taking it all. And that's where I come in. Hi, I'm Bobas, and I make Minecraft building videos, especially on my Minecraft survival world. But today, I am joining the competition to see what I can do. Except there is one catch. From the 30 days this building competition goes on for, there are only 5 days left. Alright, before we do anything, we need to devise a plan. If we only have 5 days, we need to make them count. So the first thing we'll do is decide on a theme. The prompt the bakery has given us is foundation, which basically means structures only. But besides that, there's not really any rules or limitations. So there's a lot of ways we can go with this. But I've recently been playing a lot of Rain World. It's this game where you play as this little creature called a woo cat, and your goal is just to explore this big urban world and not get eaten by any of the predators that are after you. I just love those big dystopian worlds with the huge forgotten factory type buildings that give that little bit of horror element. Think of Lethal Company, Little Nightmares, Inside, and of course Rain World. They really use the large buildings to make you feel small. So for our build, I'm thinking we should try to recreate that feeling. Alright, so getting right into it, on the first day, I immediately forgot to record. But that's okay. The first thing I did was add some easy shapes. On the right side, we have a couple of rectangular buildings, as well as on the left side. Within the middle, we're leaving that open to kind of get that imposing feeling that we talked about earlier. And then after the rectangular buildings are in place, we started adding a little bit more shapes to make the builds more interesting and connecting some of the sides with an arch or a bridge, something like that. I also wanted it to feel dark and moody, which is why I added that platform all the way up in the sky. And we're going to be playing with that natural Minecraft light a little bit later on. For now, we're gonna keep making these shapes a little bit more interesting. Like making some pillars, copying them over. This is also where we can use the large size of the build to our advantage and easily make more detailed shapes. To get that industrial feel, we want the shapes to stay very sharp and blocky and kind of repetitive. Alright, after the shapes are done, it's time to start texturing. So I have these palettes. We're going to keep it mostly gray throughout the entire build, with one gray being a little bit darker than the other. So there is a small distinction between the factories, but I still want to keep it very gray and monotone because I don't want it to take attention away from the center of this build, which is going to be a boat later on. So I'm just using the auto texturing feature here from Axiom. Normally I only use auto shade as an outline and then I shade it by hand after. But since we're so low on time, this is just gonna have to do. And honestly, in a big build like this, it looks fine. You're not supposed to focus on this anyway. And it's gonna be mostly too dark to see anyway. So we'll just keep it simple here. What we are gonna do is add wear under some places where there would be a lot of water damage. This is because I want to show that these buildings are very old and badly maintained for a while now to kind of add to the lore. Here I'm making like a moss pattern for underneath the water level. This way I could just copy it over, change some of the blocks, and it would be ready to go. I really wanted to add a lot of green and make this area feel lush, but we'll do more on that later. Now coming up to day 3, we are already at the halfway point of this challenge. So we're gonna have to make some ground. I'm gonna switch my focus to the focal point of this build, which is going to be this boat. I'm basing this boat off a little game that I played as well called Dredge. It's a really fun game where you just have to fish. It's very cozy. I really like the kind of tanker ship. It feels really adventurous. So here I'm trying to recreate that boat. And I'm trying to make it feel weathered and fit the atmosphere. And here I'm pasting it into our build. I think it looks so good with the light shining on it, making it a real centerpiece. Next up, I wanted to make some big hanging chains so we could just hang them off the ceiling some places, just to add a little bit to the ambience and to add a little bit more interest to the build overall. I also added some waterfalls on the side of the building and some rippling waves in the water to make this build feel a little bit more dynamic. Next up, it was time to spruce up the build with some foliage. So I added water plants all along the side. Because this is a creative build, I got to use different stages of crops with rooted dirt under it to create these really cool water plants. The foliage helps blend the gray walls with the water, as well as just looking super nice. It really adds to that overgrown, desolate feeling. To add to that horror element, I'm adding a giant fish underwater that's looming underneath the ship. I'm basing this fish off a catfish, you see right here. So I found a picture online and I'm trying to follow that general shape. I'm making it entirely black because it's just going to be a shadow, and I'm doing this to save on time. And here I'm adding it underneath the boat. And I think it looks super ominous and cool. Next up, I wanted to work a little bit on the underwater section of the build. Right here, I'm kind of making these bars a little bit more decrepit. I kind of want to give it the feel that maybe the fish chewed through them to make him feel a little bit more ominous. I had the idea of adding a highway on the ocean floor to add to that dystopian feel, to give it the idea that maybe water levels rose immensely over the years. I think this overall adds a lot to the story this build is trying to tell, and with some simple foliage added, I think it looks pretty good. We have arrived on the final day. So it's time to wrap things up and put the final touches on the build. The start of the last day, I want to work on the lighting. I want to visualize those sun rays coming down from the sky, which I'm doing using glass. And now we are really running low on time. At this point I have like 1 hour left, so I'm adding in a final tree hanging over the gap, making it a little bit brown and grayish. And with that, we can call this build done. For this building competition, you have to turn in a photo of your build. So I snapped a couple of pictures, and while they recommend you to use Blender to edit them, I did not have the time to learn Blender, so I just played with the lighting in MS Paint. And apparently they have these Minecraft settings. I had never seen this, but they looked pretty cool. So here is the end result. I am honestly so proud of this build, so before we do anything else, I think I'm gonna give you a little montage of the build we made. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. And with that, we did it. We have a nice looking build. The competition might be tough, but surely we have a shot at first place, right? Can you win a Minecraft competition in only 5 days? Well, my answer would be no. Now, don't get me wrong. I love our build, and I'm super proud of how it came out. I think we nailed that urban dystopian horror feel, and I think with the 5 days that we had, we honestly did really good. But at the end of the day, 5 days is just not enough to compare to the builders who have been building for 30 days. But don't worry. To tell you the truth, winning was not my goal for this competition anyway. I just really wanted to participate and show everyone that I was able to make something cool too. And in that, we definitely succeeded. So I would say that it was definitely worth it. Now for the final part of this video, I want to show you some of my favorite builds of my competitors. And you might be like, Bobas, are you not just doing this to push this video even longer? And yes, you're right, I am doing that. So here we go. There were so many great builds on the bakery, I can't possibly show them all. I think everybody on this challenge was super talented, but my favorite has to be this one from 44 Trafalgar and 3X Apwa. It's just so awesome. The amount of details and builds jam-packed in this little plot is just insane. He managed to make an entire city with some interiors and streets, and it's just amazing to look at. I think this really shows the difference between 30 days and 5 days of building. The amount of detail and love this build got is just amazing. And with that, I want to end this video. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this one. It's a little bit different from what I usually make, so let me know down in the comments if you enjoy this style of content, and maybe I'll branch out from my survival world every once in a while to do a little different project. I think it was so much fun exploring a little bit of a different theme. I'm really happy with how the video came out and the editing, and yeah, but don't worry, the survival world will be back. New survival world episode will be out soon, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.